Hi, this is Richard Giacomo. I'm the author of Putting History to Work. Here I am at a social studies conference where I was a presenter, hamming it up pretending to be Abraham Lincoln. This is also me at Colonial Jamestown in Virginia. Guess that helmet doesn't quite fit right, does it? Well, I wrote this book because as a teacher I always like to write books that fill the need for books that I don't see when I'm at a social studies conference. In other words, I want to get books that I would actually use as a teacher, and that's what I write. So I wrote this book to explain to students the value of history, and I thought the best way to do that would be to show them many different jobs that use history. This gentleman on the cover of the book is a great example of this. I came across him at a Civil War reenactment in Monterey, California. His name is Daniel Smith, and he is a camp follower reenactor. He shows his craftsmanship in fine woodwork and things like that as an example of the camp followers that would go along with soldiers during Civil War battles. So here's just a regular guy who decided to put his history skills to work and use what he's learned to supplement his carpentry trade. This is a perfect example of the type of thing that this book covers. There's many people out there that didn't necessarily have a degree in history, but they like history and they use historical research as part of the skills in their job. So let's take a look at the interior of the book. As you can see, the book contains jobs of many different kinds that use history. Now, some of these people may not even have had a degree in history, but nonetheless, they use history in their jobs. For example, you could be a television producer, producing an anniversary special for a classic TV show. You could be a collectibles dealer, assessing a customer's historic collectible. You could be a software developer, creating a historical strategy game. There are many different jobs that use history. They could be an antiques dealer, appraising an item found by a customer at an estate sale. They could be a film archivist, trying to find a historical film clip. They could be a heritage farmer at a historic park, demonstrating farming techniques. A genealogist might be looking up family history, or you could be a historical reenactor, being a movie extra. There are over 50 jobs in this book for students to research and to find out about for themselves. There are also references for the professionals that were interviewed in the production of this book, so that if your students need to contact a real-life person that did this job, they can do so. There's a list of social studies and related skills that show all the many different social studies skills that people use in jobs related to history and other social sciences. This book will show that even in careers that don't seem directly related to social studies, working people use skills that they first learned in social studies classes. These skills help them in their current jobs. This will really help students to understand the importance of history. So on any given day, a professional might use skills that he or she first acquired in social studies class. So in the lesson that follows, a professional will be shown in a work situation that requires them to draw upon social studies skills. These lessons may be used in social studies class at the beginning of a course to teach students the value of studying history. Alternatively, the lessons could be interdispersed with the regular history lessons throughout the year to highlight the various skills used in social studies. They could even be used as a part of a unit studying careers in a living skills or career exploration class. There's a template that's given for the career exercises. These will include a job title, the social studies skills emphasized, the professional jargon that is unique to that job, a typical scenario where the person that uses social studies skills in their job will be featured, and then 5 research questions. These are sample questions that a student might use in a career interview, but of course they can always ask additional questions that are approved by their teacher. Then the student lists the experts that were consulted in the interview and any research materials used, such as books, pamphlets, or websites. And finally, a summary of the results that shows what the student learned from the exercise. So here's a typical lesson that one student might do if they might go interview a historical preservation planner. So this is an architect who is going to designate a house as historically significant, and these are the type of questions that a student might ask in the interview. And they talk about the experts that they consulted, the research materials used, and a summary of their results. So it's up to the teacher how to present this in class. They might do as an oral report or a written report, depending on their class requirements. And there's over 50 of these types of jobs in the book. The student has a wide variety of careers to choose from, and the goal is really to show them that history is of value to people in many different careers. There's an introduction for teachers to explain the importance of history. Oftentimes, students will say, "When am I going to use this stuff?" That's a common complaint of students in history. Unfortunately, surveys have shown that students rank history among their most boring classes. This is something that we need to overcome. Adults will relate to teachers that they didn't really like history when they were students, but as an adult they find it fascinating. This is because as we develop more life experience, we begin to appreciate the value of history much more than when we were forced to study it as a young person. So the book starts out with a lesson that shows everyone the value of history. It's called Why Do We Study History? So as we have seen, this book is a powerful way to motivate students to see the value of history.